All right, it's recording audio and video right now. So, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Town of Stockbridge, Joint General Government Subcommittee / Town Council meeting. It's Thursday, April 11th, 2024, at 6 p.m. in the Veterans Room. This is being filmed by video and audio. Agenda item number 1, call to order. Agenda item number 2 is roll call. Councilor Marchetti.
Present.
Councilor Dow.
Present.
Citizen Member Kelly.
Present.
Citizen Member Clements is absent.
She's excused. She did call and said that she was unable to make it.
Oh, okay. And then Councilor Montigny is present. Okay, so we have a quorum. Vote, agenda number 3 is review, discuss the FY 2025 Town Council budget in the amount of $21,500. Entertain a motion to submit to Town Council as presented.
Motion moved.
Dow made the motion. Councilor Dow. Second. Okay. Well,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, if I may, through you. Basically, through this, the changes that we made in this were only 2 changes, one of which was office supplies, because we had to make a transfer this year in office supplies through the town manager's office as well as town council. So we're looking to just bump that up to $900, which you see in 23 actual expenses with 911. So requesting to bring that up to 900. And then the second one was in the dues and subscriptions to bring that to 3450. The reason for that is because every year we get the MMA bill in July, and every year we come to council to say we need to transfer monies because the increase went up 2% or 3%. If you remember, then this historically has happened every year where we go after the fiscal year, they level fund it from the previous year, MMA dues go up, and we have to come to council for that. So we're just bumping that up, and that's the only 2 changes on this.
okay, thank you. Do you think there's enough money to pay the recording clerk to do subcommittees?
So I know we had a conversation about that. As you can see, the $10,000. So what I did is I took a look at the 5-year average of what we've paid the recording clerk. The 5-year average has been $4,961 for town council meetings only. Okay, and I know there was a conversation about her the recording clerk possibly doing the minutes of subcommittee meetings. Now that all the meetings are video recorded, we could perhaps have them transcribed by that individual. So what I did is I looked at town council meetings. There's 2 a month that are required, which is 24 months. It's 24 total for the year. Special meetings or council meetings of the whole, I estimated perhaps 6 per year. And what I did is I went on the higher end for hours, 4 hours per meeting, say 120 hours. Then to complete the minutes, I gave them 2.5 hours per meeting, which would give them 195 hours for just the regular meetings. Subcommittee meetings, I went, and again, these are all averages, 5 subcommittees, perhaps 2 a month, which would average 120 a year. On average, an hour and a half, 180. And at the rate of pay with a 2% raise based on her current pay to next year's, would do 495 hours at $20.11, which would be $9,954.45.
Well, that sounds great. So maybe we can start offering her those things since she's already in that position. Does anybody else have any questions about this budget? Councilor Marquette.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. Before we start on this one, overall, I was hoping we could have I had told you, possibly a 2% cut in the overall budget. But I also said, even 1%, I was okay with 1%. So that's what I've been going through the budget and trying to figure out at least a 1% cut, which I think is very, very minimal, really. It's doable, I think. If you were to cut 1% from this budget, you're only talking a couple $100. So I'm not going to say, well, it's only $200, so let's not do it. I think that you could find $200 here very easily. I'm just looking at it. You could take my conference and meetings, the amount of money that because I don't go to any of them, you could take that $200 out of that one. Maybe you can't, I don't know. I don't know what specialized services is all about. I just was highlighting them because I don't know what they are, but I would think you could find $200 out of this budget here. So I would ask that you cut $200 from this money.
Maybe I'll start a running tally.
All right,
I don't.
If I
Yeah.
just respond to the conference and meetings, every counselor is entitled to go to conference and meetings.
okay.
On average, for the 3 councils that went, just 3 out of the 9, that's what cost us $1,800. So if all 9 councils decided to go, or 8, you don't go, I still don't have enough money for
All
that.
right, no.
Okay, so,
I
I
have
mean,
no
there's,
intention of going to any of them, and I don't even know why you would set aside money for me to go, because I'm not going. And I don't even really want to be a part of MMA as well. However, if you feel that you need to have me as a member of MMA, then fine, I have no interest in
the,
it.
the dues and subscriptions at the $3,000
Okay.
is not for every individual council, that is for the town of Southbridge to be a member of the
All right. So anyways, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think I'm looking for you to cut $200 out of this budget here. I mean, if we're going more and more towards digital files, I don't know why you need more paper. So could you cut the 900 down to 700? Would that be something you could do?
I'm looking at the overall office, and what we're trying to do too is we had to transfer from existing funds, from salary, to pay for office supplies. So that office supplies not only the town council, but the town manager with paper, all kinds, the liquor licensing board, we pay for supplies for that. We pay for supplies for anything that comes out of the bar. So every piece of paper that goes out to every person that has to renew a license, perhaps when we get to the permanent, we don't know, perhaps next year we could take a look at that. What we're also looking for is efficiencies in the upcoming year, where we're gonna look to put all offices within the town manager's office, such as human resources, town council and town manager, and to have all their offices supplied centralized. So this is a reasonable budget based on past history. I certainly share your request for a 1% cut, but I'm gonna assure you that there is, we were very cognizant in this budget. I would hope that we could go through the whole budget, and I take your point at 1%, and where we can make cuts, we will make cuts.
I mean, even specialized services, actual expenses last year was only 530.
I'll definitely take a look at that to see exactly what's targeted then.
All right.
Right, we're paying code publishing services out of that account.
The code publishing services for the
The charter and stuff.
charter,
Yep.
zoning, all the things that we put online.
Okay.
Okay. Councilor Shenny?
Can I ask what council reserves is?
It's gonna come up later. It's within the agenda items.
It's the next item.
Oh, okay.
Does anybody else have anything on the town council budget? Nope. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? 3-1. Good, Councilor Marquette. Agenda item number 4. Review, discuss the FY 2025 Town Council Reserve Budget in the amount of $100,000. Entertain a motion to submit to Town Council as presented.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Manager.
This is a request to restore the council reserve back up to the 100,000. It was cut last year to 80,000. Currently, with 3 months left, we're down to 18,000 for the rest of the fiscal year. That is a reserve account. We're not authorized to spend it in any way except to go to council and spend it. And it is just that, a reserve account within the town council's purview.
Can I ask where that is in the book? Sorry.
It's not in order.
We've got to come up with a way.
Yeah,
to
we're
move
gonna
these
come up with a
pages.
better way to do it, but it's within this, all it says is council reserve 100,000.
Okay.
It doesn't give any other background, but it
Yeah,
is
it's
in
one of
there.
those one-liners.
Well, I believe Michelle put these in numerical order. It's department number 1132. So if you look at the first series of numbers on this page, George, it'd be 1132, and I think they're numerical.
No. I think the council reserve. is the one. We'll make sure it gets, let's see that. But all it says is 100,000.
Okay, yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
Yeah, it is one line. I remember that, and nothing else. Councilor McKinney, you have any questions?
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
you're looking at, Dean?
I'm sorry?
That's what it is down here?
Yes.
What's the page number, if you don't mind?
No, that's just
It's not
that these
gonna be the
page
same
numbers
as
don't
ours.
go in order, so. Oh, I see, you don't have a book.
Oh, it's down, it's towards the bottom. Okay. Councilor Marquetti.
Thank you. So last year we cut this to 80,000 because I don't think we've ever hit $100,000. So this year, a lot of councilors were saying, you know, we should have never cut it to 80,000 because we need that money. But you're telling me we still have some money left over in that. So again, we never reach $100,000. So I'm thinking, again, 80,000, but I would go 90,000, cut 10,000 out. I don't think we need $100,000.
So currently, because of the insurances that were not funded properly for last fiscal year, we are needing to find within the budget approximately $100,000, I believe, for insurance transfers. We will have to tag up this money. I haven't put that transfer through because I have to make sure I have other adequate funding sources. This is typically a reserve account to make sure that we have monies available in case of unforeseen items. So our request is 100,000. That is what I'm comfortable with based on what I've seen this year. We're going through a budget process that we're accounting for some things that were underfunded last year. So that is our request, 100,000.
Well, I would make a motion to cut it to 90,000.
Question before.
Well, I mean, certainly, but if does anyone who want to second his motion to cut it to 90,000?
I'll second.
Okay. Well, there's a motion, a second, and yes, if you're done speaking, Councilor Dow can speak.
Thank you, Chair.
So what left in that account will stay there, or will go back and then we fund the 100,000?
Whatever is not spent would close out to the general fund and go to free cash.
Free cash.
Then the certified free cash.
Okay. So, to you, Chair, to Councilor Marquetti, before when head department came forward and started asking for extra money, small here and there, we do have a comment say, get your budget correct and see what you need one time, because we don't want to keep giving money during the period of year. So now, I understand they have a little bit left, but you know the past is all last 3 years, 4 years, we don't have a correct budget or correct number, everything it was screwed up. So now we're trying to find a target number to be work around it. I mean, if we're gonna keep cutting these guys here and there, and then down the road, they're gonna come back and ask for money, and we say no, I don't think that's reasonable either.
No?
That's my opinion. I mean, it's up to you, but that's,
fair.
okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I see that you're asking for a 20,000 increase, still asking for an increase of 10,000, Councilor Marquetti, to be technical. But does anybody else have anything else they want to say about the amendment to the recommendation? I do like to save taxpayer dollars, but
It's gonna stay there. I mean, it's coming
I
back. You're not gonna
understand. The same way Councilor Marquetti's money will go back when he doesn't go to the MMA conference. You're still taxing the citizens for it, though. Anyway, if no one has anything else to say, all those in favor of the amendment? All those opposed? All right. Well, if no one has anything else to say, let's vote on the 100,000 then,
Okay.
and that you could vote not to recommend it to council.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Just for our new members on his first budget meeting. Thank you very much. All those in favor? For the original motion of 100,000. Opposed? Okay, so that is going to have an unfavorable recommendation.
No recommendation.
No recommendation. No recommendation for a town council reserve budget. Okay. Agenda item number 5. Review, discuss the FY 2025 town attorney budget in the amount of $117,500. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented. Anybody like to second that motion?
Second.
Thank you.
Can I ask where that is in the book? This is terrible.
It is.
Give us 2 seconds. When we found it, we'll let you know.
You know,
I thought they were giving these books as well.
I apologize. I did the agenda trying to go in sequence of where manager, then accountant, and all that. So
That's
it's
why
in
I
within
asked-
the first part of
That's
the
why I
book.
asked to be printed. I don't wanna go through the laptop. Maybe it will be like an order.
We go through this every year when it comes to that, so.
Well, it's like with me, I got the next, I have town managers that, pay through work. And the next thing you know, it goes to the town accountant.
All right, it's actually
Not
probably
too
about
far.
10 pages in,
Yeah.
not even, so.
This budget
It's
is,
1151.
Right here.
Where do you find 1151?
To the far left.
Far left, I got 1123,
Keep going, yep.
keep going.
1135, 1145.
Oh, 1161, I got it.
1151.
51, what is it?
Okay, I got it. I gotta say, this system kinda really sucks.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta,
Ask him to raise.
I got it. Yeah, 1151. Okay, I guess that's going to be a good way to find it. Going
Yeah.
through the rest of this meeting is by that
By that number.
ORG number. Okay,
It's requested at level funded.
level funded. Anybody have any questions about the town attorney budget?
I do.
Yes, Councilor McGiddy.
Again, sticking with my 1% cut, I was looking for a $1,175 cut, which isn't very much, I don't think. What is specialized services?
That's the attorney.
Specialized 115 is the attorney?
Yep.
Oh, all right, I thought it was something else, sorry, my mistake. I don't really know where else this could be cut, I guess. So,
You were looking for $117.50.
no, 1,175.
Oh, my bad.
I realize the municipal hearing officer, she gets what she gets.
Yep.
Yep, and the attorney, that's what he's gonna do. That's what he wants and he's gonna.
No, that's not what he gets. That's anticipated legal bills. So we have KP Law, we have Merrick O'Connell, we're gonna have a sewer contract that we're gonna have to negotiate this year, so that's gonna be funded.
Okay.
We have the continued easements and everything else. So
Okay. Then I will not make a motion, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item number 6, review discuss the FY 2025 town manager budget in the amount of $364,571. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, what number is this?
1123.
should be right at the front.
Okay.
First one.
So in the town manager's budget, you have the town manager, the 2 assistants in the front office, my executive assistant, and the other admin that we have. So you can see it's a 2.7% decrease. And the part-time salary, that's Dean's salary within my office. The employee benefits is zeroed out from 5,000 to 0 because that was Mike McCall's annuity. $3,000, we level funded. Car allowance is zeroed out because the town is providing me a vehicle, so we transferred it to $1,500 for repair and maintenance of the vehicle because there may be repair and maintenance, we don't know what that's gonna be. Specialized services, we kept at 500. Advertising and promotion, we increased that to 3,100. Oh, no, actually, we level funded that, I'm sorry. What else do we have here?
I thought.
I think that's basically, dues and subscriptions was just a slight increase on that. So the overall was a 21% increase, but that's only because of Dean's salary. The rest are all contractually, salaries are all contractually.
Okay. Councilor Marquetti.
All right. So I was looking for a $3,600 cut.
I don't have $3,600 to cut in that budget.
I know, I see that. I know in your contract, you're entitled to a tuition. Are you planning to go to school this year?
Hopefully I can. This year I completed my procurement class.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I've taken the priority outside of me personally going for my education to commit to the town of
No, I'm not
Southbridge
trying
and
to cut
procurement.
your contract. I'm just saying if you weren't planning on taking any classes. then
It
something-
is entitled within my
It
contract,
is
so.
in time. I'm not trying to cut it, thank you. Mileage in state travel, You already got a car, so who would get?
That would be if, in case Matt or Gail had to go to a meeting or whatever.
And Gail, she doesn't, I don't really see this as a needed position anymore. I don't think it's a full-time position. I don't even know if it's a part-time position.
She handles all the licensing matters. There's always been 3 people in that office. So I don't understand why you believe that it's not needed.
Well, Matthew.
Is my
he
executive
also part-
assistant.
Is he also part-time?
No, he's full-time.
Well, it says 32 hours, so I thought, unless I could be missing something here, but it says
No.
32
No,
hours.
this is the way in Munis, because we don't like Munis for this kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't like.
Matt's
that.
contract is 64,760 on the step, the way it lines up on Munis, and this is a continuing problem, we've had this for years, when it lines up. The 32-hour-a-week anniversary is Gail's anniversary date, and then Matt,
Okay,
so. And those are the per the steps on the contract, on the salary
so
schedule.
I mean, it's a 21.62% increase. Is that
Because of
Because
Dean.
of Dean?
Yeah.
How long is Dean gonna be working?
He has a 3-year contract that we paid, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So just to clarify there, you said Matt was 40 and she was 25?
She's 32.
32.
37.5, isn't
He's what?
it? 37.5.
37 and a half is Matt, yes.
37 and a half.
Yeah.
Okay. And that can't be changed, obviously, either of those. Okay.
Well, we could eliminate the position, but then you would have to transfer that work to someone else.
Where would we transfer that?
That's a good question. That's,
That's all the licensing, common vic, liquor licensing, all that. That's a lot of work to transfer. There is no other employee in this department, in this town hall, that I could transfer those duties to that isn't already working to capacity.
all right.
Counselor
Is
Shenny?
there a way that the position could be consolidated with the new position going in the treasurer's office?
No.
No, okay.
Well, what kind of answer is that? Why couldn't we?
Because it's a utility billing person. There's utility billing, that's specifically utility billing, water, sewer, enterprise accounts, and then the 2 collectors.
And what about inspector's office? Can't be transferred there?
They have their own duties to do.
Right.
All these departments have their own admins because they're specific to the admin. The town manager's office is the town managers before this had another position, if you remember,
Yeah.
that was cut
That
last
was-
year.
What was that? That was the.
That was the admin, another admin. There was 3 admins in that office.
All right. All right. Thank you.
And also, that admin also now is helping out with human resources, because we transferred the human resources specialist downstairs to the treasurer collector's office. So that third person that these 2 people in my office not only support the town manager and all the licensing, but also human resources now too.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. I'm sorry, did you raise your hand? I didn't look. I misspoke when I said it without looking at you. Thank you. Agenda item number 7, review, discuss the FY 2025 town accountant budget in the amount of $175,174 and entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
Second.
Okay, and what is the number for this?
The second.
The next one over.
Oh,
35.
Well, yeah, I got it. Would you have anything to say, Mr. Manager?
Yep, so in this budget, we have the accountant's salary, which is the top 2 lines. And then we have an assistant town accountant, which is the MS 12 step 3. That's already an existing position in that office. And then we have increase in conference and meetings, and the reason for that is there is definitely a need to provide employees with training and additional assistance. So that's for her, the assistant accountant and the town accountant to provide training and education and the conferences that they go to.
I'm sorry, did you say what specialized services is? Did I miss that?
Specialized services this year is, we'd like to retain the services of Lori again this year to assist in the end of the year closing, to provide additional training and assistance to Christine as an adjunct to that department.
And that's 20,000.
It's estimated at 20,000, yes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Kelly.
Thank you. $20,000 for special services. It wasn't in any of the prior budgets. It wasn't look like anything.
Right,
I don't
so-
know where that's
so-
coming from.
Yeah, to be- choose my words wisely. It's an estimated amount because our town accountant will need training and assistance in closing the books and scheduling the variety of state reports that are required, specifically the Schedule A and our free cash certification. So this is somebody who is familiar with Munis, which is the financial package that we have, who in essence did the closing and those filings for the town this year in fiscal year '24. We're looking to retain her to train the accountant in fiscal year '25. Her contract would be based on an hourly rate. This year she's with the accounting firm we use, which is Roselli and Clark. But I think she's going out on her own.
So, just to clarify, so we would have paid the accounting firm that she works for this
Correct.
year, and that would have come out of what part of the budget?
We're in the process of putting together transfers for additional monies for that, because we ended up paying for that this year as well.
How much was it this year?
I believe it was 18,000.
18,000. And where the money
Hey,
come from?
Huh?
When the money we're gonna get it from?
We had some money in specialized services, we're gonna have to do a transfer.
Right. The work that we would like her to do next year is a lot more involved. As I said, this year, because we were in just a tight crunch, we're doing this in January and February. The purpose of these funds is to actually train our accountant on these procedures, not just do them.
So the accountant does, at this time, does not know how to do this?
That's correct.
Our goal of the next year is to, when I first got here, we definitely found that in the finance department, we had a new individual that's capable but needs experience. And unfortunately, you can't learn this municipal finance on your own, and the ability to find trained accountants is becoming very difficult throughout Massachusetts right now. There's a number of communities that are having issues trying to fill these positions. Where we have an individual that has been working here, it's our goal to provide as much assistance and training so that we can develop the individual within the systems that we have. The person, very capable accountant, but comes over to a municipal side, which is a whole different animal than private side. So our hope last year when I got here was to use the individual to help and provide assistance and some guidance as to how to close these. But we were in such a crunch because we had so many things coming at us when it came to our finances that we needed to rely more on that individual outside to do the actual work than to have the time to really sit and go through all the processes. There's a lot of processes when you close out at the end of the year. Your Schedule A's, very detailed reports that the state mandates that are very complicated, that are totally different from the private side. So we want to do is take this individual this year and have them work with our accountant to really develop a solid foundation, training and processes so that going forward, that individual, it's really a transition year this year when it comes to that kind of staff.
And I do want to add, your town accountant is a very competent and very bright woman. And she's fully capable of learning this, but she's never been sat down and showed the process to go through with the software that we use and what the Department of Revenue requirements are. She's fully capable of learning it. I'm very confident in that. But it's just not something, as Jack said, you just pick up, or you don't learn this stuff in school.
So the town accountant isn't a town employee, it's not somebody that we hire.
That's correct.
Correct,
It's a town
yeah.
employee.
So we're investing in the people that we have to provide them the training and the abilities to do things.
Okay. Are you all set?
Almost.
Okay,
And then Councilor Shanier.
all right. Again, I was going on my 1% cut. I was looking to trim maybe $1,700 from this budget. And just looking through it, I just highlighted a couple of them. You talked about the specialized services of 20,000. I don't know if you could cut a little bit off of that. Mileage on in-state travel, the reason I highlighted that was because last year you didn't spend that much on in-state travel. I see that you've already spent 237 so far, but we're almost to the end now of our year-to-date. So I was thinking maybe you could cut a little bit from the travel. And then I see a lot of training here, an awful lot of training, not only from the Municipal Accounting and Auditors Association, but also from someone called Mark Abraham's UMass training. Do they need this much redundant training, or is it not redundant?
It's not redundant. There's training on enterprise funds, how to manage the enterprise funds that we all took last week.
Okay.
There's multiple trainings that this individual does. He's well known throughout the state for this training. We want highly competent, highly skilled workers. And you say, okay, you didn't spend a lot on in-state travel last year? Yeah, because she was the only one in the office and couldn't go anywhere.
Okay.
So,
I want highly competent
I think we all do.
especially when we're paying them $90,000 a year.
Right.
I want them to be highly competent.
Yeah.
But hey, you get what you get, I guess, but I'm just looking for some cut here. Something, a little bit. I'm not asking for a lot of money here. $1,700, I don't think is undoable. Thank you.
Councilor Shanier.
Just looking at the book, it's not so much of this question. If you look at the line item for the accountant, I guess it is, there's one line item for 57,800. There's another line item for 32,412. Why is that?
Because it's a step
Step
increase
increase.
throughout the year.
Add them together, it's the salary.
So midway through the year,
Yeah.
so if you look at the first one, it says effective off-step year 2, and then off-step year 3 goes to year 3 to the next step. So
Is
because of the steps,
Is that a typo, actually? It just says A6 step 1 for both of those line items.
Right.
Shouldn't one of them say step 2?
Yes.
yeah,
The bottom one?
yeah, I
Yes.
should say step.
Okay.
Yeah, the 57.8 is for the period of July 1st through February 28th. The 32,412 would be from from February 28th to June 30th.
And then I guess you would change 228 to 225,025 if we're making that step 2 change. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just like,
you're correct. Yeah.
okay.
Sorry about that.
No, it's cool. You all set, Councilor Shanier? Yeah? George?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I have other questions are coming in over time.
All right.
Yeah.
Just to provide clarification on the salary,
Yeah.
the 57 is actually off step, and then it would go to step 1.
To step 1. Yeah, no, that is correct.
Okay, so it's.
No, if I now she's right.
I
Because
gotcha. So
I'm
Wait.
not currently in the step program, so it's
Uh-huh.
off step, and then it would move to step 1 upon certification.
okay,
so
gotcha.
when they gave her an offer letter, she was below the minimum step.
I gotcha.
So
Yes,
the
Councilor
salary
Shanier.
is the total of those two together.
Correct.
Yes.
That's correct.
There's a couple people like this in the budget where they split them up. It's
So
another.
we're looking at a
munis
salary
thing.
of roughly 90,000.
Yeah.
88. 88 too.
57 and 32 is 89,
89.
and then
90.
90,000.
90,212.
Right.
MS-12 is a position you're holding to hire someone.
MS-12 is an existing position that the individual is no longer with us
Was this
and has
Abby?
to be filled.
You are gonna fill it.
No.
So you're not gonna fill it?
Yes, we are. No, he's asking me a question, you're asking me a
Sorry.
question. You're both asking me a question.
Yep.
So, assistant accountant is no longer with us. We have a temporary person in there. That is that position. And then we are gonna request an admin assist, what is it?
S7.
S7. That was part of my budget memo for this department to, regarding, that salary is within a salary adjustment account, an S7, which is a accounting specialist S7. What we're finding is that, I think everybody knows that processing bills and just the process and the amount of invoices and bills that we process through this town hall are very, very extensive, because we not only process our town bills, but we all process every invoice through the school department. So that takes a lot of, I don't want to say man hours because I want to be politically correct, but takes a lot of time and to process all those invoices. And we seem to be in a cycle that we just don't have the capacity to do that. So this individual account specialist S7 would be added to the accountant's office to do that assistance in that office.
So I'm sorry, it's not in here, but
We have the money within the budget that we presented in a salary adjustment account. It would be at S7.
Right. Instead of inflating various departments with salary changes and new positions, which cause multiple budgets to potentially be reduced, we put all new position requests in one account called the salary reserve account, which is coming up in the personnel series.
understood.
So that way, if there are adjustments made, it's made to that one account. What would happen and then is upon the council adopting the budget, anything that's remaining would then be transferred into the proper line items.
Well, why wouldn't this be the same thing? So some MS-12, why wouldn't that also be reserved?
Because
This
that's
is
an existing
existing
position.
But you haven't hired anybody for it.
Right, but
this
this is
is
for
already
new
in the budget.
positions that are in the salary reserve account, not existing positions.
But if we eliminated that position, it would then become a new position, correct?
Eliminate what position?
This
This MS7?
MS-12.
well, it wouldn't be part of
The only reason there's
presentation
no
later.
name there is because the position just became vacant.
I see.
So if you would,
Okay.
when we did this budget, that person was still employed by
I
us.
see, yeah.
So I'm not gonna put somebody's name there that is no longer employed here, but
No,
that
I
is a
just-
position.
Okay, thank you. I think that you're keeping the salary the same. If
Yeah,
you-
whatever,
Right, as a result of a resignation.
All right.
Mr. Kelly.
Thank you. On the MS-12 position, would you hire it at a step 3?
No, that's a reserve. The goal would be to hire the person in at the lowest salary we can get them in. We reserved amount money right in the middle of the step schedule so that we're not limited if we get a highly qualified individual that won't come in at the step 1 or the minimum level. It's just
So
budgeted,
it's really cushion then?
that's correct.
Okay. No other discussion, Councilor Shannon.
So this future position is in that salary reserve account, or
Correct.
whatever you wanna call it.
It comes up later.
Now,
Yeah.
does that position go to council for approval?
Yes.
When it comes time,
Mhm.
all right? And by having this position, are we going to fix our bill paying instead of being months waiting for people to be paid to maybe a couple weeks or weeks?
Oh, absolutely.
absolutely.
We're actually, George, we're actually in that cycle now.
Trying to get-
You know, we're
I
pretty
know
much,
vendors that don't wanna do business with the town because they waited and we've had this discussion for
Right.
months for payment.
The town accountant now is we've set up a warrant schedule.
Yep,
People know that. They have a certain date by which they have to get their invoices entered and into the town accountant's office. If they're in by that date, they go out on the very next warrant. So if
Okay.
there are any holdups now, it's not coming from town hall. Could be coming from when a department receives an invoice, or when the department may enter that invoice and submit it for payment. But what's being entered is being turned over by the town accountant in accordance with this warrant schedule that's been established.
so is there a way of, I'm sure the school department is part of the problem too, with submitting their vouchers and those kind. Is there a way of flagging an account that will say, let's say it's gone beyond 30 days?
Right, well, what we're seeing now, when these various departments enter the invoices, they enter the invoice date. So, you know, it naturally begs the question, why is a invoice dated January being entered in April? And then you have a upset vendor who doesn't want to do business with the
Right.
town. That's nothing that generated out of the town hall. That's, you know, what happened to that invoice for 3 months.
Right.
So we're capable of tracking that and seeing what the issues are, where the holdups are.
And that new position is going to help with a lot of.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And if there's no further discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? That's 3-1. Agenda item number 8, review discuss the FY 2025 human resource budget in the amount of $165,745 and entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
So moved.
11:52.
Second. Thank you.
11:52.
We have to come up with a better way for this. I don't know what it is, but we've got to come up with this. Well, this one I think will make the council happy. There's a reduction that's being recommended this evening in this budget. We double budgeted a position. I take full responsibility for that. There was a miscommunication, but in the salary line item of 142,495 is a position that was moved to the collector treasurer's office. So that line item will go from 142,495 to 88,309. And if you look at the backup documentation, that is the position that is listed for 54,186. That's out of this budget, it is in the treasurer's budget. So it was in your documentation twice.
Okay, so this is not HR specialist MS12 step 1 is not here.
That is correct.
So this bottom line is not 165?
That's correct.
Do you have a new one?
I'll give it to you in one
Top
second.
of your-
You have your calculator?
And I know Dean took responsibility, but it was kind of a conversation we had and it got lost.
Well, everybody
My
left the room
translation.
with the same understanding but the town manager.
But the town manager.
So-
I don't want to throw any stones at him.
So later when we get to, oh, we already did.
What's the correct
Treasurer's- Where is the other line? Where does it balance that back out?
It's gonna go to the
Treasurer's
treasurer's
office.
office.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
So your new departmental total for human resources is $111,559.
$111,559.
59,
No sense.
no sense.
Am I miss? Oh, treasurer's item 16. Okay, so it doesn't. We're gonna have to add.
No, it's already
it's already
there.
in there.
Oh, it's
It's
in
already
there.
in the budget.
It's in the 452,
Yeah.
447 from the treasurers. Okay. Well, there you go, Councilor Murphy. Do you have anything to add?
So, you don't want me to ask for more cuts here, you don't think?
Well, I think everything else is pretty much level funded with the exception of dues and subscriptions and print forms.
I
Why
think-
would we need more recruitment? I thought we weren't going to, is that for the positions that you're thinking of adding to these departments?
No, I think that, well, that would certainly add to that. But these are all the pre-employment physicals. And I really think that at some point in the future, you know, the town's got to decide what we want to do with these pre-employment physicals. You know, I see the very important need for these in your police, your fire, your DPW positions.
Right.
But, you know, when you're looking at clerical positions and town hall positions, maybe the town can develop a pre-employment physical form that a potential employee needs to return, where they're responsible for bringing that to their primary care physician
That's a
with
good
their
idea.
job description and having the primary care physician certify that the potential employee is capable of
Yeah, that's
performing
what
the
I've
job.
got some jobs for.
And that would be, yeah, and that would certainly have some savings for us.
And what about this employee engagement benefit wellness fair other incentives of $5,000? Do you think that that is necessary? I mean, that what, provides candy and,
That's our open enrollment.
no,
Which-
$5,000?
Yeah, that's, no,
Miscellaneous
what I'm saying is
expenses?
during that activity is when we do our open enrollment. And it's a wellness fair for our employees. It's kind of a benefit. They go there, they learn about their benefits, they learn, I mean, it's provided as a benefit to our employees. And we are required to provide an open enrollment period for all of our health
Is that
insurance.
pay for the picnic that they have also?
Thank you, Councilor Shendy.
No, nor saying no.
That was a one-time thing.
Well-
What was the cookie?
One time thing.
Wasn't invited.
All right. If there's no more further discussion on this, I suppose I'd like, just for the sake of doing this properly, an amendment to change this number to 111,559.
And remove the other one?
Well, no, the other one's gonna.
Do we need to say that we're removing a position, or is it just,
No,
just
just
reduce it? Just
go
reduce
to,
it?
as recommended by the town manager, that's all.
We'll recommend the 111,559.
So,
So moved.
Second.
Second. Okay, so no discussion. All those in favor of the amendment? Opposed? Okay, and if we can continue to vote on the main motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, we got 4-0 for both, and that is 111,559. Okay, review and discuss the FY 2025 town agenda number 9. Review and discuss the FY 2025 town assessor budget in the amount of $221,278. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
1141.
Ron Kelly, and what number is it?
1141.
Okay. I've got mine. Okay. And this is pretty much our last town council meeting. Had a lot to do with this budget. So, do you have anything you'd like to add from
The,
last meeting?
I think this is one of the budgets, Councilor, that we are going to have to continue working on through the budget season. There is, as you know, positional changes that are happening there. This budget was created with kind of maintaining the status quo, which isn't what we're recommending to you, but the changes need council approval. I believe you're gonna see some savings in the salary accounts when we've got the personnel situation settled in there. But for now, this budget represents funding the status quo as opposed to the recommendations that are being made, you know, in the next few weeks to the council on filling the positions in there. So these,
Yeah, if there's one thing that out of all these budgets is going to be developing, it's this one.
Correct.
You're saying, okay. So perhaps,
I can almost assure you that you'll see a reduction in this budget request once we get the positions settled and filled.
clerk of the assessor,
Right.
yeah.
There's a positional change
Yeah.
in the principal assessor to a change to clerk board of assessors. That will cause some positional changes in filling that person's position. So I think you're gonna see a fair amount of reduction in this line item, or in this budget. But again, that's all kind of, you know, work in progress. So to be conservative in our budget approach, we budgeted for the status quo, but we will be coming to the council before final adoption with changes to this budget, which will reflect the council's actions.
Councilor Marquetti?
thank you, through you. So that was part of my question, is that if Ms. Sanchez is moving up, you want to promote her, then what happens with her position?
It gets back.
It gets
That gets filled,
You are gonna fill her position?
yes.
Okay.
There'll still be 3 people in the office.
And then Francine, I thought you were moving her to another department, so you're
No,
no longer.
we're not moving people, we're moving positions. The responsibility of the water and sewer billing is going to be combined into the solid waste collection, and those responsibilities are moving to a position in the collector's office. It doesn't really belong
So
in
the
the
position
assessor's
will-
office.
Will stay,
That position will stay to continue doing the motor vehicle excise tax and the additional assessing work that needs to be done.
and what about specialized services? What, could you tell me about those?
Specialized services are two things. It pays for the tax map updating, which I don't remember the name of the vendor. And we are requesting some funds to keep the former principal assessor on to work 1 day a week for a period of time with the new assessor to help that person transition into the role of the principal assessor.
All right.
Okay.
And well, one last thing, mileage in-state,
Well, they do have conferences that they go to.
right.
There is the,
Right, and there'll be a certification.
23, you only spent like $60, is that because
the no staff.
there was no staff? All right.
Keep
Okay,
that that way.
thank you, that's all I have.
Counselor Sheney.
So the position, new position in the treasurer's collector's office is going to be a position that handles the water, sewer billing, trash billing.
And then we'll perform collection functions for the collector's office.
Is there a way that that person can be consolidated in the billing of the excise tax, collections of the excise tax, and that could, to, I guess, can that person do what that function?
That's certainly something we can look at. I understand what you're saying, so you have just one billing point.
And that's why.
Right, but
There's a difference, okay? The person can collect, the person cannot assess. So the position that's in the assessor's office does the actual assessment of those bills. We are not allowed to statutorily. The person that's going to be the water, sewer, and trash will be collecting all other methods as well, whether it's real estate, personal property, things of that
Right, but
nature.
that person's gonna be doing the billing of the water and sewer and
And the
the,
trash, correct?
right, so if there's an abatement done that, in those two departments where motor vehicles, the abatement is done in the assessor's office. So your office or the manager's office is gonna do the abatement to the water and sewer and trash, am I correct? If there's an abatement
I
done.
don't believe there's been a determination yet as how the abatement of the refuse collection is gonna
Right.
work.
So, well, I
It
guess.
won't be in the treasurer's
Right,
office.
I guess what I'm saying is, can't the treasurer's office do the billing, motor vehicle billing?
Right, and the answer to that, George, is it's possible. I can't honestly say to you that that position is capable of doing that time-wise. You know,
Right.
And I'll be completely honest with you, I didn't think of that. I don't know if that's something that can be completed or not. You know, that's certainly something that we can look at.
Because I just think it's easier to have one department handling the billing, like a billing department. You know, maybe eventually if it needs to add another
Right, what
person, ambulance billing, those kind of
Right,
things.
we're gonna have to look a little bit into, and I'm not, this isn't a deep dive or anything,
Right,
but statutorily, the assessors have a legal obligation to commit motor vehicle, real estate, and personal property tax. That's statutorily, as well as assess betterments and things of that nature. There's no, that I'm aware of, statutory obligation that puts water, sewer, and refuse collection under the auspices of the Board of Selectmen. So I'm suggesting that there may be a statutory reason that the motor vehicle excise billing has to remain in the assessor's office. I'm not saying there is, I'm
Right.
suggesting there may be.
okay.
And that's something we would have to look at as part of the bigger discussion.
I would hope that you do that.
No,
Okay,
it's a good point, it's a very good point.
thank you.
Great. Does anybody else have anything? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all. Agenda item number 10, review and discuss the FY 2025 town clerk budget in the amount of $217,338. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
This is amended one.
Thank you.
1161 and 1162.
Did you get
Yeah, they already got me.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary.
1162 is election. Is that what you're saying?
1161
Yeah.
is town clerk, 1162 is election.
Gotcha. Mr. Manager, I mean, I don't know if there's much change. 2%, right? Am I missing something?
Yeah, on the salary wages, you have the, it's a 2% on the highest step on the, because they're all at max step. So that's 2% above, it's a 2% raise. And then the rest are all level funded throughout.
All right, anybody, Council Marquez, do you have anything before I go to the floor?
Yes, the only one on this one, I'm going to completely flip on this one. When I look at department heads, almost every single one of them are making more than the town clerk. The town accountant is in the 90,000 range, the assessor 94, treasurer collector is 124. HR is even making more than the town clerk. The town clerk's been here for 27 years. I don't see it as being fair that she is making less than all the other department heads. So I would recommend that we up her to A9, if that's what it takes, and pay her what all the other department heads are making. So that's the only one.
If I can jump in on this, there is a request in our salary reserve account to reclassify the town clerk from an MS-18 to an A9.
Okay.
That's it, tonight's agenda?
That's on tonight's agenda, so we will be discussing that further.
All right.
Very good, thank you for that. Councilor Shinner?
I'm on the same
I'm on the same
level
page,
with,
yeah.
because not only, I think something that needs to be considered, why I bring her up into this position, is the added responsibility that she's taken on. She does, stuff that the Board of Health does when they're closed. She does the grade, I believe, the issue of death certificates. She's increased her workload over the last few years, and she never refuses. She keeps saying yes, yes, and yes. But we, as an employer, say no to that up in. So I'm glad that you're considering that this year, and hopefully we can put that to rest through this budget.
That would be wonderful, for sure. Does anybody else have anything about this budget? No, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, unanimous? Agenda item 11, review, discuss FY 2025 elections budget in the amount of $121,690. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
So moved.
Second.
What number?
It's the next number, 1162. Should be right next to it.
So the reason for the increase in this is because you have an added election of the
Special.
presidential election.
This account often fluctuates,
It
correct?
does, yes.
Based on how many
election
elections
cycles,
there are.
Elections, yeah, all that.
Everything else seems to be, I mean, most of the increases come from the same thing. Increase in printing because there's more elections, and increase in promotion because there's more elections. So, a hair more in office supplies. But does anybody have anything? Councilor Marquetti?
So like with the other ones, I was looking for a 1% cut. I'm not getting too far with my 1% cuts at all tonight. But the election workers, now do we ever take into account the fact that there aren't that many people voting anymore? Or does that not count at all?
I'll defer to the town clerk, but I think it's statutory
It's
based on the number
The
of
amount of workers that we have per precinct.
per precinct, then.
Well, then how come last year was, because it wasn't a presidential election, that's the only difference?
And then, back in 2020, they knocked down one person. We don't have to have a checkout, so we can eliminate one person. But everything else is statutory, that we need a warden, a clerk, 2 inspectors, and somebody to watch the ballot box.
And you can't get by with 80,000, you have to have 85,000.
It's the salaries.
Salaries.
All right.
Salaries are the salaries.
Yeah.
You cut my wife out.
We could cancel the presidential election if you like, and we'd be
Every
good.
day, we could get rid of early
Poor
voting.
woman.
That's a good one.
Hopefully she's not
Use that.
Hopefully she's not washing.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well,
Does that mean you're done, Councilman?
I already talked to her about it. She told me not to even bring it up.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
You're afraid of me?
Well, is there any other discussion?
Are we going to see any 1% cuts anywhere in this budget, or are you pretty much, you're set at what you're set at?
Data processing is the next, but we shouldn't be talking like this right now. But data processing is next, and that can sometimes be a joke.
All right.
So let's
Okay.
just.
Let me just respond to that.
All right.
Councilman Marquetti,
I'm
we
not
look
trying
at.
to be a hard ass,
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
saying.
no.
No?
Listen, I'm a taxpayer here in Southbridge too. So I know what it is for a taxpayer and what it feels as a taxpayer.
I know.
My
but
aunt
you
here
make
is
a
a
lot more money than I do.
No, listen, my aunt lives up on Brecknick Road and is a widower, and I have to make sure that she has the ability to pay taxes too. But I also look at, and we also look at, what services are we gonna provide to the town of Southbridge, all right? And when it comes to police, fire, DPW, all that takes expense, and then, so when you pay that though,
There are other towns that provide the same service and taxes aren't as high, so that's not a very good excuse.
Well, now this is.
I'm looking,
I hear you.
I'm looking at the town of Southbridge, what we provide for services. If we want to maintain the services that we have now, we can certainly, if the town council wishes to cut 1%, 2%, I'm going to tell you, if that's what you truly want.
1% would not, I don't think you'd have to lay anybody off for the 1%.
Well, yes, you will.
I don't think so.
Yes, you will. Because 1% means that you also have your insurance that are mandatory. There are fixed costs within this budget, right? These are bare bone budgets. Every time we turn around and go, we got to transfer $50 from this to that.
20% increase over last year. Let's see how it's.
It's gonna be too long.
And
I
water
gotta
and
go to the
sewer-
bathroom, or you wanna vote
Water
on
and
it?
sewer is
Yeah, I hear
completely
you.
separate from this, so.
Well, Councilor Marquet, I think your concerns are heard loud and clear. Mr. Manager, if you if you see something that you could offer at any point, I'm sure you would tell us.
We certainly took a close look at these budgets,
Yes.
right? And salaries are salaries, right? They're within the steps, they're within the grades, that's what you look at. Contracts that we provide to employees, so those are what they are. We're talking very small increases in operating supplies, and if anybody has bought anything, which I think we all have, at our homes, there's inflation. So I don't even think we're even accounting for inflation when it comes to office supplies,
Probably not.
right?
Understood.
I mean, when you look at inflation and you say inflation at whatever percent, 10% inflation or whatever it is, 7% inflation, and we're talking about, I think we only increased, I mean, within the inflationary standards, we're buying less. We have less buying power with the amount of dollars that we have, that we're given. So we're trying to do the best we can with the dollars we actually have. So we are gonna be buying less just because of inflation.
And
Your answer is no, we're not.
well, and so we're
Well,
on.
I think, I really want people to understand too, I mean, you all know the position Southbridge is in terms of staffing, in terms of work, in terms of responsibilities in various departments. That didn't happen overnight. That's been a culmination of years of things building. If you've noticed, there's a common theme in these budgets. We're heavy on staffing and we're heavy on training. We've got to get the right people in the right jobs, pay them a competitive wage, and then train them and retain them. It's no mystery. That's what we need. And that's been sorely missing in Southbridge for a lot of years.
Train 'em.
And that has created a lot of the situations that we're plowing through now. And you'll see this theme come up consistently in these town hall departments. It's staffing and training. We can talk about supply accounts, but they make up a very, very small percentage of the overall budget and the overall request. We have some very, very good people in this town that work very hard for all of the taxpayers, but they need to be supported. They need to be supported with training and, with the types of benefits and salary that retains them.
I really want to move on to the vote here, but I will just say I don't think anybody doesn't want to support the people here. I mean, we're just trying to do our jobs as councilors. Last year, before you came on board, we actually got rid of a a testing that we did no longer need for the landfill, was it? For maybe, I
Yep.
know you were, it was
I
like
was at that
$2,400. Something we found because we asked the questions and it didn't hurt anybody and it wasn't anybody's oversight. It was just something we had a new health director that said it confirmed at the time that it was okay to cut, and then we cut it. And then I think it was appropriate. And I don't think anybody's trying to, I don't think Councilor Marquetti especially is trying to
No, I-
not
I
support
wasn't
the
directing
staff.
my
No, I
comments at
understand that. I
anybody, you know.
understand. I don't think
just want you
anybody
to
here is trying
understand
not to
what went
support the
behind the
staff.
budget and the thought
No.
process as we developed this.
This is like half of our job is like this meeting. So anyway, let's move on.
Big part of your job.
You know, all those in favor of the elections budget? Opposed? Unanimous vote present. Okay, agenda item number 12 is review, discuss the FY 2025 data processing budget in the amount of $398,183. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
So moved.
Number,
give a sec.
55, 11:55.
11:55. Very good.
So with the salary on this one, it's just a salary step in the percentage, that's all that is. You'll see the biggest price increase is with the data processing. That is essentially what makes up the biggest chunk of this budget. A lot of that is comprised of increases in cost for the data processing. However, last year, at the end, from what Victor says, and Victor is here this evening, when the budget was being debated by the council and the final budget had gone over to the town council, there was an issue with the fire department software package and the vendor that was doing the software. Their security.
data support.
The data support. That person walked off the job, and it got absorbed into the town's GDS, which we use for our support. And that cost, when Victor went to the interim town manager at the time and said, hey, look, this took place, it's gonna impact our budget significantly. Charlie said, well, it's too late to come to the budget, and you just have to deal with it within. So we're gonna have to look at this year's budget for some possible monies to supplement that fire department moving over. So that's a lot of the increase as well on that.
Okay.
So that includes Munis too. So we have Munis software and all the software.
All the software listed here, yep. I'll go with Mr. Kelly first.
So the data processing line item, that's just software, right? Are we sending out, are we contracting out to various contractors to process town data, or is the software contained locally and we're purchasing the software contracts?
It's a combination of, well, it's Munis, which is our financial software, so, and that's cloud hosted. So that pays for that service, as well as GDS, which is our, it's our network service where it's monitoring, it's backing up, it's our networking core equipment that they monitor, and we're licensed for, so that's part of that as well.
Okay. So I just, from, I'm an old guy. When I hear data processing, I think of a bunch of people in a room, typing on a keyboard. So I'm just trying to figure out what is included in that line item. I see some software entries here, and
It's our data backups,
Mhm.
it's our firewall, it's our security, it's and like I said, the Munis, so a lot of that, and it's monitored. They monitor our systems and health, which is one of the reasons why I have a capital project to upgrade the core equipment, because they've alerted me to the fact that a lot of our equipment is far out of date, and we're going to need to upgrade that. But they do that, and when I'm not here, they have the backup for the town when I'm not around.
so and the increase in this line item significant, almost 20%. that one thing, I just,
Most of that has to do with the add-on of fire, because we have to pay additional services for adding them on, and also increasing some of the capabilities they didn't have before. They weren't getting sufficient backups. We had to buy hardware for that and license that hardware. That's a monthly subscription for that. So that majority is including that department.
thank you.
Councilor Marquetti, did you have a question, then Councilor Shenyer? I thought you had your hand
I
up.
was looking for some cuts in this, but, you know,
I
as far
understand.
as all of the data processing and stuff, this is way out of, above me. I'm an old guy too, so a lot of this I don't really understand. Is the fire department, is that gonna come out of their budget and go into his budget?
No,
What exactly is
no,
that?
we-
They didn't even, since it was the end of last fiscal year that this occurred, they didn't budget on their end for fiscal '24 for this. So they don't even
was
have
like-
that budget.
And you got a good firewall, because I always hear, all the hacking that goes on. and stuff.
Right, and so, I mean, they did benefit and increase services when we added them on. But, you know, like everything, they have some firewall things that are gonna come due to replace as well, but these things are helping with monitoring that.
What about the police department? They're not coming over?
No,
Instead-
police
Not
is
as
not-
of yet, they
not
have,
yet.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Councilor Shenyer?
I'm kind of concerned with the hardware, only $7,500. Is that going to be enough? I mean, we did local transfers, didn't we, this year for hardware replacement? Like at the DPW and,
Oh, that was for their virtual server.
right, wasn't, and,
Uh,
even at the fire station and police station, did you do transfers this, maybe last year
They-
plus this year?
They have their own line items for IT hardware. This is for town hall, correct?
This is, well, for town hall, or everyone I service, like, police do have their own line, as far as I know, but it's because of those situations that I added those in. Those are new for this fiscal year, because I'm trying to get ahead of it, in a sense.
But even a computer replacement, some of the departments have computers that are old. You know, I mean, look at the hardware you got here in town hall, it's here, it's,
So some of those departments have it on their capital plan
Yeah.
request.
Yeah, and we have it also
Yeah.
capital, for future. But for the random, like a computer dies, or when I was away,
mouse.
the switch died, you know, if we need something on the fly, it's, you're right. I originally I put in like 10,000, but I know with the budgets being what they were, I cut it back to 7,500.
Goodness. Anybody else? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Agenda item number 13, review, discuss the FY 2025 cable budget in the amount of $215,246. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
what number?
1177.
Second.
Okay, Marquetti and Kelly. Mr. Manager, is this? Oh, wait, I'm sorry, 11 what?
1177?
Okay.
This budget is totally funded out of the cable revolving account. And the one thing.
I have
that-
11:59 for this one.
11:59.
Okay,
Oh, I'm so sorry, that was my next.
that's okay.
You're right.
Should have been right after the last one.
Yeah, my bad.
So, this is essentially, it's the, salaries, with, the changes, for, percentages. They are looking to change, one position. They had an admin position in the previous budget, and they're looking to just make that a CAC step one cable, which would, do the, give him a per diem person to be able to go out, give Charlie a person to go out. We will be looking at possibly some change in the cable station manager, because he's essentially at the same step as the CSC one, James Cosgrove. They're both at the same level, so we're evaluating that. But again, this budget comes completely out of the cable operating budget.
Okay. I mean, as you know, I used to run this department long ago, and there was about 60,000 for total salaries. Now it's 145. But all of this money comes from charter, correct?
Correct.
Spectrum. None of this money comes from taxpayers' dollars. It comes from cable subscriber dollars. And,
I'm on cable subscriber.
and mine too, but it's just not coming from the tax rate. Is all I'm pointing out for those who don't know. It comes from Spectrum as a slice of the bill. Okay. Now,
And our budget doesn't have any reflection on the rates. It's whatever revenue that they charge per subscriber that they give to the local station. So it's not like what our budget is.
which we just negotiated. He knows.
No, I'm just saying for the people that may be watching this.
Sure.
It doesn't, this budget by us having these positions doesn't do the rates. The money that comes into a community is just based on the formula that they subscribe with.
So what I'm wondering is the entire 215,242.52 is that all of the money that we get? And
No.
Where
It stays in a revolving fund, cable revolving.
the revolving fund. And that's not in here. Do you have any idea off the top of your head how much money's in that revolving account?
I
Is
don't.
it six figures?
Is it six figures?
believe
Is it
it
above this? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't quote me. I think the last time I saw it was roughly around 400,000.
And that is for
But that could have been people, the monies had come out and come back in, so.
sure, and that's for the last year of the contract, right? I believe is supposed to be part of that 400,000, like the final year of the contract they
Oh,
paid
wait,
up
they
at the beginning.
renewed.
Yeah.
The agreement
So
renewed.
there could be some money in there for capital expenditures if they decided they needed to replace, overhaul, or they decided they
Yes.
wanted a van. I'm dating myself for saying a van, but okay, got it.
Quite honestly, the cable is an entity by itself. We
It
have it
is.
within our town that we
Right.
have an agreement to manage it, but if they chose to go out on their own, we would have no say really. on
Well,
that.
you are the
license.
The license, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that would have to be like a whole process. So I mean, you are in charge of cable, but very good. I mean, so you don't know the number that was given for this year? I mean, I understand that it goes into the revolving account, but you don't know if it was like 230 and then you threw 15 in the revolving, or
No, it constantly comes in. It doesn't. We get a check all the time. It's not like
Okay.
the license came renew and they give it
Understood,
money.
understood.
It comes all the time.
very good. Okay.
I'll get you a number though for it, but
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Council Shinny.
So this is where that revolving account is where they use the money to equip the rooms with cable and stuff like that, like the recordings.
What?
Like these here?
Yeah,
No, but that came out of ARPA.
okay,
They used to have a capital item, but it's at zero now.
right, but you could use capital projects out of that revolving account.
I'd have to look at the contract to see specifically what they can and can't
I
use.
guess my question is to get all the rooms, that meeting rooms,
There's only probably one more room that would have to be done.
okay,
We would not do the room next to our
correct,
town manager's office.
right.
This room has it, the other room has it. I believe downstairs, the two room downstairs, so every
All the
room
meeting
has it.
All the meeting rooms.
The only room that does not have it is the Evelyn
Right,
Petrol
that's
room,
exactly
and that's a
what
really small, no, the Evelyn historic room across the hall.
By Dean's office.
Huh?
Oh, I was telling this by Dean's office.
By Dean's office.
Okay.
That's the only meeting room that doesn't have TV. or the ability to come.
Is it possible with this budget process that we could get the accounts, all the revolving accounts total? Is that something easy to do?
Yeah, we can get updates on the revolving
Okay,
account.
thank you.
Thanks, Councilor Shinny. Anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Agenda item number 14, review and discuss the FY 2025 Historical Commission budget in the amount of $500 and entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented. Second.
This is 1177.
1177. Councilor Marquet, this is a $500 budget.
So the historical commission and license commission, they get 500 each year, so.
1177.
I mean, if I'm okay.
Maybe we could do a 1% cut in that one.
1178.
$5.
We're on historical, right?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it off the top of my head here, but
Yeah, it is.
And
that's
that's actually a little further
Right
back,
here,
so
1178, is that the one?
that is it.
1178.
Yep.
it's just $500.
Yeah.
They spent $477 last year. So. All right, yeah. No, if there's no more discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item number 15, review discuss the FY 2025 licensing commission budget in the amount of $500. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, again, this is only $500. How much did they spend? Each.
1178.
They spent $477.
Your back change 1% right here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if there's no discussion, I think we can, housekeeping, okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item 16, review, discuss the FY 2025 treasurer collector budget in the amount of $452,447. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Dow Kelly, okay, well,
1145.
11:45. I've got it. Quite a few pages, but I've got it.
So as you can see, one of the biggest cost drivers in this is the salaries. So, based off of last year, so you have the treasurer collector, finance director. So you have to remember you have the salary as well as the finance director's stipend that normally would have been, what used to be in the town accountant's line item, got zeroed out last year, not funded, even though you need to have a finance director. So, Michelle's salary includes both her salary that per contract as well as the finance director. So that's the contract.
Very good.
Okay, then you also look at, when we say, so if you look at Tara Tebow,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that is the position that came down from,
DPW.
no, from the
Human
human resource
resource.
Oh,
specialist
gotcha.
that got moved to this account.
That's the one we crossed out earlier, understood.
Okay, so that's that position, okay?
But she came with a longevity bonus, I guess, was increased there too.
So yeah, so you have the increase plus your salary that she came over and all that.
Yep.
Okay, so those are the drivers of the salaries, okay?
The printing, the W-2s, why did that double?
The what?
The 534,200. It's at the bottom of that page. A print form, 7,000 went to 13,550. It's 93% increase.
Well, that's, if you remember, we did that huge transfer this year for that,
Okay.
because it was the way the budget went for the print forms. We had to print,
It's
Yeah.
gonna have. It'll be the same next year. Like you'll need the money next year to do that. Clearly, because you
Correct,
asked
yeah.
for it. Understood. Okay.
so some of that money though will be offset through indirect costs, because it's picked up in the printing of the bills through the indirect cost for the sewer, water, sewer, and curbside. So you have that increase in there in the indirect costs. Okay.
Anybody have any questions, Councilor Marquetti?
So I thought I saw one of these employees is retiring when we got towards the end of the budget. Is somebody retiring out of there? Are you keeping
What?
the position open?
No, there may be a possible retirement, so we're budgeting for a possible retirement. So we
Okay.
want to make sure that we have that money allocated within the, within the budget. So at some point, that an individual may retire. We want to be prepared for it and not have to have that sneak up on us and not have it allocated for us. So that would be something that,
But so you would keep the person's salary here, and if she retired,
if she retired, you would still you'd have to backfill the position. But of course, it would be possibly it could be at a much lower thing, and that money would just close out to free cash at the end of the
And
year.
this Aflac, I thought that, why is it in here if we're not paying for that? Aflac,
That was a contractual thing for the employee.
we're not, but I thought when we signed up for that, you said the town would not be paying for Aflac.
For other employees, but that was part of a contract that we negotiated, that the town council signed off on for that individual.
Okay.
Okay. And the only other change, and we'll have that picked up in the salary adjustment account, would be that the two individuals that we have at
S5
S5s
will
will
be
be
moving
moving
to
to
S7.
S7s. The vote the other night to move it to S7s. Town council, we voted the other night for those two positions. So in this budget, it was budgeted at S5, but we did budget for it within the salary adjustment, so we would make that adjustment.
And also the conference and meetings, it's gone up quite a bit as well.
That is the same conversation we had with the accountant's office to make sure that there's adequate training, support. There's new individuals in those offices as well. We want to make sure we train them. So anticipate throughout the year, there probably will be, or there may be some savings in there if there is a retirement, so.
I mean, Ms. Hill, you don't need any training, correct? When you came on board, I was told you were the top, you were the best. So you wouldn't need to go to this training. right?
Everybody needs training.
I think that.
Although there is annual conferences that you go for recertification and maintain your skills and all that.
Okay, so does anybody else have any discussion? No?
Can I ask one question?
Yes, Councilor
I might have
Shadid.
already asked the town manager. The ARPA, you projected actual at 62,400 positions.
Yep,
Then you show minus,
because it's being paid out of the opera.
that's gonna be so, okay,
Yeah.
because I think.
It's just a ad.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks. Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Were you in favor, Councilor?
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Unanimous. Agenda item number 17, review, discuss the FY 2025 debt service budget in the amount of $3,098,763. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
So moved.
So that's tab 7,
Tab
or
7.
it's 1710. if you have it.
Dear, dear.
1710.
It's
1710.
tab 7 if you have the book.
Councilor Shaney, if you have the book tab, so.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm missing something that's in the packet.
17 or 19?
The packet was all messed up.
19?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, we
1710.
gotta do a better job in putting this together
units
for
is
you.
called, get rid of units.
Yes,
I
yes.
just took them right out of the budget.
I'm looking in the front.
And my budget book, right in the front seat of my car.
We're gonna get to that one.
Yeah, we got that.
You have it?
So debt service is, I'm gonna defer to Michelle, but it's
Look at the
the
1910.
the debt that we had to borrow money for and what we have to pay back, and we did a good job about reconciling this to make sure we have accurate numbers.
So these are all the current projects that we owe. We did have one, I apologize, one did roll off, one that was completely paid. Then we have another 100 and, I think it's 50,000, which is actually 148. We have a payment that is obligated, come fiscal year 25, on the $4 million for the fire station. That's currently in a ban. We have $1 million for the roads. That is another, we don't have to make a payment on that one until fiscal year 25. So that is in this budget as well as far as this schedule.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's in the Gen Gov packet. I could be.
Right.
We have
They
the
didn't
next.
take their books, so they had it.
We used
printed
the
out,
packet.
so.
Oh, it's
And not the book.
1710.
No, I understand, but I
Oh.
really don't think it's in here. We do have the next item, but
Yeah, I don't think the best
that? Is that backwards then?
in the
I can't find
budget.
it.
yeah, Mr. Kelly's doesn't have a budget book and he's using the packet too. He can't.
Okay, so I apologize.
It's all right. But Councilor Marquetti, since you do have it, do you have
Yeah, I was
anything you'd like
just,
to say about it?
I have a couple of questions here. The access road, and that's being paid by Casella, am I correct? I thought that
They are paying debt, absolutely, and I believe that is the one that they're paying. I still have a lot more digging into as far as who's paying these, or reimbursing us.
so if they're
But yeah.
paying that, that's another 457 6 that you could take off of this budget if they're paying.
Well, no,
No,
because
that comes in revenue.
revenue.
Yeah,
All right.
you'll see that on the revenue side.
Yeah, if you look at the chart that's in the front of your budget book,
Oh,
you'll see an offset for that
okay,
and under revenue.
Okay,
I guess.
all right. Any other discussion?
It is in it. So if you look at the revenue, they'll say commercial drive and revenue, and then this is the payment of that.
All right.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present.
Steve,
sorry.
I can,
You abstained.
I
Oh, my,
I'll,
thank you.
I can send you the whole budget in a folder that will just be, it'll be the whole, this whole budget book.
301. All right. Agenda item number 18, review discuss the FY 2025 personnel budget in the amount of $5,291,745. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
So moved.
19.
Dow Kelly, is this the budget that you said has the new positions?
I don't believe so.
Is
No,
that?
Not personnel.
I'll
Personnel
get,
is-
I'll make sure that we point that, oh, I'm sorry,
It is.
It is.
It is, my
Yes.
mistake.
No, I'm just trying to figure out where they are.
If you look on my summary page, they're not highlighted out under the broken out positions. They're in the 245 number that you see on the summary page.
Okay, so where is the information about what positions? Are they in, am I missing?
Well, I have to apologize for that because I didn't print it out.
Okay.
I certainly can grab that for you. But let me explain to you what else is in that salary reserve account.
Okay.
There are the positions that we are proposing as new positions. They include the water sewer billing clerk, which has a net zero effect on the town because we'll be billing the enterprise funds for those, so there won't be an impact in the tax rate. There'll be an impact in the water sewer collection rates. We have the two S5s moving to S7s in the collector's office. We have the new position in the town accountant's office, the S7. And we have also put provisions to deal with the DPW contract. As you may be aware, the DPW collective bargaining agreement is expiring June 30th.
Mm-hmm.
They've selected new representation, so negotiations haven't started. There's bound to be an impact to their salaries and perhaps other benefits as well. So we've put some provisions to fund a new collective bargaining agreement effective July 1st. So that's all, those are everything that's within that 245.
And what about Maddie's raise?
And Maddie's MS
Change of
18 to
classification.
A9.
Okay. Well,
And
And I do-
I should have printed that out, I apologize.
I'm just gonna trust you that's in there, 'cause that's my favorite part.
So this is a letter from Maddie, that she had presented in January at the budget. To change position. And we did account for it within that salary.
One more. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So she was requesting A9 and you made it A9, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Resignation?
And we really,
No.
I'll read it backward.
No, I understood. This
yeah,
is,
we pretty much did the same thing that Councilor McKetty pointed out when we spoke with Maddie.
yeah,
You know, that was Maddie's request, but if you look at the other positions that are on that salary schedule, you can clearly see that that position, given Maddie's responsibilities, falls within that same category of employee.
oh, totally. Long overdue in my opinion, but as long as it's in there.
It is, it's within that salary
Okay.
adjustment.
Fantastic. Anybody have anything to say?
On that one.
Councilor Dow?
We wait for the election. After the election, we decide yes or no.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to everyone.
Thank you for you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
for your work.
So I just have
Some-
one thing.
Some other changes that we've made on this account,
Yes.
if I can.
Yeah, please.
If you notice, you see sick vacation leave buyback with a substantial increase. Previously, those sick leave buybacks were, again, budgeted in various departments. We moved them into one centrally controlled department.
Okay.
And largely because, and I'm not gonna pick on any one department, But if a department budgets for sick leave buyback as a result of retirement, and then that retirement doesn't occur, they shouldn't get that money in their budget.
No, correct.
You know, that
Understood.
really is an administrative account. So these funds that are in there, we've made provisions for the known potential retirements. If those retirements come to be, those funds again would be transferred into the appropriate departments. But we've left this more in an administrative control.
So more of like a canceling out again.
Correct.
From the other budget. Councilor Shenier.
And something similar to that, is it time that we start looking to do central purchasing for all departments?
Well,
I know it's off topic, but
Pretty
that'll be a
Right.
conversation that, not for this coming fiscal year, but that's something we'll look at for next fiscal year, as far as looking at, like I said earlier about my department, we have, we spoke when I did my budget presentation about doing the chart of accounts and getting
Correct.
those chart accounts, and that may be in tandem where we can clean up these accounts, centralize it, get good account numbers, and make it a little bit easy for us to manage. And part of that too is when you say, hey, we want to put this accountant analyst in, right? If we say move to bringing electric bills all in that somebody's going to manage here, that's going to take a staff person to do it. If it's, that kind of stuff. So we're evolving to centralize some of those items as well.
Thank you.
okay.
Well, all I was gonna say is, the language here, there may be one estimated retirement this year, an employee is undecided, 15,000 in the account in the event that we have unexpected retirements or resignations. That is identical to last year's budget. So is there somebody going to retire, or is that just something that you're just copying
So-
and pasting?
There's 2 known retirements and provisions for a third.
Right. So in this year's budget, all we had was 15,000, right? We had a fire department retirement that should have been planned for, that was told by the fire chief to the manager at the time to budget it. It wasn't budgeted. So what we're doing here is, you may have somebody unexpectedly retire throughout the year that's been here, or they have sick time, that's the 15,000. We do anticipate somebody in the fire department has mentioned that they may retire. I heard there may be a second person possibly. We're only budgeting for the one that we know of right now. So if that second one comes, that's gonna eat up the 15,000. So we're trying to be proactive to anticipate these retirements so that we can plan for them.
So I'm a little naive about the whole retirement type of thing. What exactly do you mean by the cost of retirement? That's
Sick
just
time
the
buybacks,
sick-
so they
It's
in
contractual
their
obligations.
contractual or by our rules and regulations, they had sick time buyback. So if they accumulated they were allowed to accumulate up to X number of days. If upon retirement, they could buy back days at a certain amount, a prorated amount. So that's what we're planning for.
And if that's in the contract, that money's not set aside for them for the day that they retire? It's like a,
No, it's a pay-as-you-go.
Pay,
there you go, huh?
yeah.
And I see that the guy is retiring here, that's where I saw her name,
Me?
Yeah.
but you don't know exactly when, or-
She hasn't formally put in her written resignation.
okay. All right.
Okay.
And then if you look at the other things, it's a retirement assessment is what's been given to us, and then Medicare is what we have to pay. So.
And this is not accounting for potential disability retirements. This is regular retirement. you're-
Just regular retirement, yes.
Yeah, because you can't, you're right.
So now.
Well, no, that's an assessment we get through PERAC. There's a regulation
Right.
that the town has to fully fund its retirement system. All cities and towns with retirement systems are on a 30-year schedule that's developed by the Public Employee Retirement Commission, and we annually get an assessment from them in which they direct the amount that we need to contribute towards the retirement system. And in your book, you'll see that. I think Michelle included that letter.
Yeah,
So it's in there.
Okay. Seeing no other discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? Under agenda item number 19, review, discuss the FY 2025 administration budget in the amount of $681 of $681,550. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
So that's 3135?
Uh,
The admin, we're doing the admin?
Oh, which
That's one,
Kelly
one
and
nine
Dow.
and
Oh,
many
okay.
zeros.
What number?
One
Oh, the-
90000. Yes, that's why I wanted to have these.
I did have them order some tabs.
Did you? Okay, it's, yeah, it's a little. sorry.
That budgeting software would be kind of nice right now, right? Where we could just put it up on the board?
Yep.
I'm with you.
This is another series of accounts that we may see some reductions in as our budget continues to develop. There's a lot of things that we were not able to get definitive costs on, so we've made estimates, but we will be shoring those up. I'm specifically looking at like heating fuel, copy machines, if we can get into a state contract. So there's some more work that needs to be done on these series of accounts, but we've made, we've made estimations based on current expenses. Our tightening of this budget is gonna bring it down, not bring it up.
So what solid waste collection, why are you taking 25?
Because we have to pay trash to remove
That's
from
right.
here.
And all of the receptacles that are at town-owned buildings, which we now will be paying to the enterprise fund for the collection of that.
$115 a quarter.
And a demo, 50,000, don't we have a demo revolving account?
No, that demo account is there, and that has been there. I get it. That's one of the things that we have to really dig into as to why that's there. It's been there for a while.
Right, we're just, the expenses, there's not a lot of rhyme and reason to what's hit that account in the past. That's another one, Jack and I, we just need to do a deeper dive in, but we haven't been able to, I can't even honestly tell you what the intent of that account was when it was originally established.
Okay,
We're hoping to find that information out.
Yeah.
all right.
Wait, the demo budget is here, not at inspections, or is it a different
That's a
demo?
totally different account.
Okay.
Something that we found throughout this budget thing that we're trying to get a deeper dive into.
Okay.
If you don't know what it is, take it off.
Well, we want to.
We wanna make sure we don't need it before we take it out.
So
We're
you're
doing
saying,
a deeper dive.
so
to
you're
figure
saying
out
that
what
you
it is.
may come to us before
And cut
and cut that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I'm gonna cut it, don't transfer it, I know how it works.
No,
Well,
no,
no,
we won't
let's see.
transfer it.
If it goes anywhere, it'll be transferred into the real demo budget. But and that would make you happy too, wouldn't
That would make
it?
me
All right, very good. We're getting somewhere. Anybody else have anything? No. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item number 20. Review discuss the FY 2025 special articles budget in the amount of $114,100. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented. Second. Okay.
Turn the back of the tab, 3135.
So this one is ambulance billing services that we pay the ambulance biller to do, the Medicaid billing cost.
But that's Comstar for ambulance billing service, New England Medical for Medicaid billing.
Are we contemplating bringing those in the town hall and doing a billing or something?
I think that would require a more detailed study as to what exactly the timeline is to do that. I mean, that ambulance billing is very complicated because you have a lot of billing codes, you have to have medical coding and all that, so.
I see.
It's not simple as just here's the bill and send it out, because you're billing insurance companies, so you have to have accurate billing codes and all that.
Well, you wanna know.
Yeah. And then the assessors reval is the contract we just signed at 50,000.
If you may recall, for folks who've been on the council for longer periods of time, it had been historically the plan to budget $35,000 a year. Because every 3 years, you're required to do this big revaluation of all your properties, and that usually comes in with a hefty price tag. So instead of appropriating $150,000 every 3 years, the town was in a cycle of budgeting $35,000 a year to keep a reserve going to pay for that. For some reason, it wasn't budgeted for in fiscal year '24. That's why you see such a large increase. So we're requesting $50,000 to pick up a portion of what should have been raised this year, and then what needs to be raised next year.
The reason why, because it wasn't professional people.
Right, and then we're gonna go back to doing, whatever a third of
That's right.
what the reval cost is into this, so that we're not hitting the budget hard every 3 years.
Yeah, cause right now, instead of having the 35 that we typically would've had, we probably would've went up only 2,500, from 35 to 37.5. But now we're going from 0 to 50.
I can't understand why it wasn't put in a.
Yeah. Well, that's, and you say, when you say, hey, could you cut, the challenge that we've had, and like Dean and Michelle, we really have, why is this, and that's the biggest thing, so.
Well, I think last year wasn't a matter of could you cut, it was a matter of no one showed up at the meetings to
Right.
tell us what was going on.
Yeah.
Correct, I remember that. Are you all set?
I'm all set.
Council
Thank you,
Dow?
Chair Trio. That's why we hire professionals. They know what they're doing.
Oh, all right.
We don't let somebody never touch a budget or never work on a paper like that, do the budget just to get by. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Dow. Anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, unanimous? Okay, the budget is done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Only an hour longer than I thought it would take.
It's still not that bad, I mean,
No, you went through quite a bit.
Well, this half the town maybe.
It's
And
organized.
General Govt will come back with the insurance accounts once we get a little bit more details on a couple of the
Yeah,
insurance.
revolving
accounts that we
too would be cool to see.
have. We'll update the revolving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get rid of the 50.
we've already got the budgets for the 3 revolving funds. What we're really doing now
Yeah.
is we're analyzing the revenue stream. It's really, I hope that we come back with, minimal or no increase to the enterprise fund revolving, or retained earnings and rates. Can't promise you there till we catch and really do a deeper dive into the revenue stream, but that's what we're looking to do. So the enterprise fund budgets are done. We now are looking to develop the rates to support the budgets.
Okay.
And then you'll get the full package on that. And we're actually just starting looking at the revenue streams now.
Great.
It's been a hard push to get this stuff out.
No, and this year compared to last year, it's only my second budget, and I think it's much better than last year. So thank you
We're
guys.
gonna work
for
on the
your work.
presentation a little bit to make flipping through these documents, and if I could just take a minute, I think it's important to acknowledge the department heads and the staff that have worked on these budgets. They've really pulled together a lot of information in a short period of time. The staff in the finance department, particularly the treasurers and the town accountant, have really worked hard in getting these numbers. It's really easy for me to sit at a meeting and say, well, this is what this number is. It took somebody some extensive digging to give me the backup to all that document or to all those numbers. Because we're not just satisfied in getting a number. We want to make sure it's right, we want to see what it is, we want to make sure it's consistent. And they've really done a good job. The department heads, their staff, and the finance staff here have really done an outstanding job. And I want to recognize their work.
Thank you. No, and thank you to all the department heads. That's good. Well, we're gonna keep moving on. Did you have something to say?
Yes.
Because I just want to remind everybody we are not even on an agenda item right now. So, but it will if you.
I just have a comment generally about the budget. This is my first experience with the budget. I appreciate all the hard work that went into it, and you've been able to answer questions fairly well. I will say this as a concern, when I'm going through the budget, I'm noticing we're increasing, almost every item had an increase over last year, some significant increases over last year. That gives me, not that these aren't necessary increases, but it does give me some concern in that, we've recently asked our taxpayers to come up with money for a fire station. They're getting in, we had a Proposition 2.5 waiver. They're starting to get hit with those bills. It would be helpful for me. I don't see any revenue projections. I see a lot of, the budget, but what are our revenue projections for next year?
I'll send you that whole packet, and that has the revenue.
Right, it is in the budget.
Okay, so I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But I think it's important
Yeah.
for those of us who are trying to evaluate
Right.
these items that we have a project, you know, we know where the money's
Okay,
coming.
yeah, no, that's fair, and be honest with you, anytime you wanna come in and meet with any one of us, to come in and talk about it, that's.
This,
more than
this has
happy.
been a particularly difficult budget to put together because in some cases, you see large increases or large decreases just because we don't know where the heck the number that was put in for this year came from. You know, and so we're not just applying a percentage to that, we're looking at what that account is for, what the true expenses are. So there's a lot of just different things. It's gonna be a lot easier to defend and show the budget next year when you have the same people producing it, budgeting for the same items, budgeting for the same costs, and then, you know, explaining any differences and any additions and deletions. So I can understand where you're coming from, because when you look at the line items, they are all over the place. They really are. It is a, I don't wanna say it's a mess, but it makes for a lot of interesting reading.
Well, one more comment from Councillor Dunn, then we have to move
The
on.
reason, one of the reason too, last year, like I say, some people doesn't have no experience. They did the budget and eliminate a lot to look good, you know, to save money, but actually didn't save money. You know, it wasn't employee theirs, they didn't put some item, you know, travels, expense and stuff like that wasn't here, and some item, again, to remove it completely. That's why now somewhere it looked like a lot of increase.
That's true. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dean.
We're gonna move on now to agenda item number 21, which is review discuss the renewal of the intermunicipal agreement between the towns of Auburn, Charlton, Oxford, and Southbridge to continue their Chapter 115 operations, South Central Massachusetts Veterans Services, and allow the town manager to sign all related documents. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Manager.
Thank you. So this is, we've been in agreement with these towns since approximately 2020, I believe. It was renewed in 2022, so every 2 years we have to renew this agreement with the four towns. Together as a community, Charlton has already approved theirs, Oxford has approved, Oxford is going next week. Auburn has approved their agreement. I'm bringing it towards you. So what it is every town is supposed to have a full-time veteran service officer. However, and it's based on population and the like. We have a full-time veteran service officer. And what we do now is he serves as the veteran service district. So we have a district, form a district. So those other towns have part-time veteran service officers. So those are the three towns are paying a proportion of the salary. So they have their own veterans agent, right? Veterans agent, I'm sorry, not veteran service officer. They call them veterans agents. So,
Is the new agreement business as usual?
business as usual. We take our salary, it's proportionally exposed for the four towns. And it has the regular step increase in the salaries,
Okay.
proportional.
Does anybody have any questions? Seems like housekeeping. Again. Okay.
So we pay it all, they reimburse us.
Very good. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous vote present. Agenda item number 22, review discuss that town council approve the easement agreement by and between the town of Southbridge and ZP Battery Deco LLC on town land parcels 2711 and 4011 for an operation of an energy storage system. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council.
So Ken
And
provided
Yep.
Ken provided a pretty detailed memo. I inherited this when I came. I started way back many years ago. It's already gone through the planning board. They need an easement to go through our DPW site to put this almost like a dry hydrant line in. That's gonna go from, would be pressurized from our hydrant to any fire that would occur on that battery storage facility. It's already been permitted, it's already been planned, so they just needed the easement. It was a requirement of the fire department to put this line in for any fire suppression efforts.
Okay, understood.
I thought there was an issue with it being not looped. I don't remember.
No, this is dry, so
exactly.
there's no water in it. So it's a totally dry system, so if there's a fire, they would pump water from that into the line.
Okay, I don't remember exactly what it was. Right.
Did you have a question, Counselor? Okay.
I
Counselor
know this was approved before.
Long
but
time
I
ago, yeah.
really think it's a lousy way of doing fire suppression, as being a dry line to a major battery facility. And us, as a community, when we want a housing project, and I'll be like, there was discussion about 40B up on Gulfwood Road, the fire service wanted a line, active line brought up to the property for fire protection and that kind of stuff. So, you know, we have two different standards when it comes to stuff. And I know this has been approved, it's been going around for a long time, but this is something I think that we need to work on with our inspections. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? No? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item number 23. Review, discuss, recommending an amendment to the Town of Stockbridge Code of Bylaws, Chapter 11, Departmental Revolving Funds by adding the following.
You don't have to read it. I think we can see it. Unless you want to read it.
Are we supposed to?
No, you don't have to.
11. I'm just gonna read it real quick. 11-500.7 Commercial Loan Revolving Fund. 11-500.7.1 Fund name. There shall be a separate fund called the Commercial Loan Revolving Fund authorized for use of the Economic Development and Planning Department. 11-500.7.2 Revenues. The town accountant shall establish the Commercial Loan Revolving Fund as a separate account and credit to the fund all of the ARPA commercial loans charged and received by the department in connection with the ARPA Commercial Loan Program. 11-500.7.3 Purpose and expenditures. During each fiscal year, the Economic Development and Planning Department may incur liabilities against and spend monies from the Commercial Loan Revolving Fund for expenses associated with ARPA Commercial Loan Program, office supplies, advertising, and any expenses related to the collection of funds. 11-500.7.4 Other requirements reports none. 11-500.7.5 Fiscal years. The Commercial Loan Revolving Fund shall operate for fiscal years that begin on or after July 1st, 2023. Entertain motion, Town Council, to conduct 3 readings and adopt the amendment.
So,
Okay.
So this was, we've talked about this in previous council. Council Marquetti brought up that it required a bylaw, which he was absolutely right, and I thanked him for bringing that information to us. This is just an addition to the bylaws for this specific fund, and as you can see, it's modeled after the other bylaw amendments that we have. And I
Okay.
believe I had it coded right.
Yep. I am good with this one. Anybody else?
Well, the only problem I have with revolving funds is it's hard to keep track of them. I mean, I heard you earlier say you don't know how much is in one of the other revolving funds, so if you don't really know how much is in there or how they're spending the money, it's just, that's the only problem that I have with these revolving funds. Originally, this one was supposed to be cut off at 100,000, but now you decided.
So at town council sets the limits at every year, yearly, what the limit's gonna be.
Okay.
This is just establishing the fund under the bylaws.
All right, but I mean, that's my concern about revolving
Yep.
funds.
Well,
And you
certainly,
never know how much is in them. Where, do they provide you with any information on how much they've spent and what they've been doing with it, or?
go ahead.
If I may, we're capable of telling you what the balances are, I just don't know them off the top of your head. You know, it will certainly become a lot easier once we reconfigure the chart of accounts, because you do have to look at multiple accounts to get your balances, and it shouldn't be set up that way. You should be able to run a ledger for a specific revolving fund, see what the beginning balance was, what came in for revenue, what went out for expenses, and what your balance is. It sounds like it's very simple, and it is. It just wasn't set up that way on the books. I did make a note, we will give you, tomorrow, we'll get you the balances of all the revolving funds that the town has, and we can certainly provide that to the council periodically. And as I said, once we get the chart of accounts straightened out, these reports really will be as simple as running simple reports. We've just gotta get there.
Actually, we'll get it to you next week.
But I mean, even with a revolving account, this person is going to just be able to spend the money without it coming to the council at all?
Well, with this one, it would require the town council's approval because it's a loan program. So the town council is the one that's gonna have to approve the contract.
All right.
Yes.
it's similar, like, I think Center Street's part of the sprinkler system. We approved that loan
Right, they have to, and this would establish the account. to be
Yeah,
able to-
so they have
They
to
still
come.
need to follow all the financial procedures that
Correct.
the town has. They have to put their expenses through a warrant that needs to be approved by the town manager. You know, this person is not authorized to authorize a loan to somebody. They would be authorized to buy supplies as, office supplies as needed, or to engage the services to collect on a delinquent loan and things like that. But all of the big things that typically come before council still would follow suit
But
with that.
supply doesn't go through the budget, added through the budget for that department specific, the supply they needed?
No, that would hit the revolving fund. Any expenses associated with the loans that were granted under this ARPA program and then recollected are all within that, and all the expenses will stay
Just
within
for that
revolving
program.
fund.
So that means that balance will decrease in the future as you
As
use
time
it?
progresses, that balance will decrease. You know, it won't ever become, we'd have to be spending a lot of money on supplies to get out, what was it,
Because there's no interest, I think, there's no interest to come to that, just.
300,000.
Because there's no interest. yeah.
Correct. So in the future, we can ask for more for that kind of program, or
Not for that, that's specific for that 300,000.
that's it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
I'll
All
see you
present.
later.
Thank you. Agenda item number 24, review, discuss that the Southbridge Town Council amend the Town of Southbridge, Mass Code of Bylaws by adding the following. Section 3-111, public participation. 3-111.1, all meetings of multiple member bodies, committees, subcommittees, boards, and commissions shall reasonable opportunity for residents and employees to be heard at any such meeting in regard to any matter considered thereat. 3-111.2, exception. All multiple member bodies may schedule a workshop for members' discussion only, providing the public notice of any and all such meetings shall state that it is a workshop meeting and public comment will not be allowed. Entertain a motion, Town Council, conduct 3 readings and adopt the bylaw.
Some will.
So could I make an amendment to this?
Yeah, well, let's get a second.
Second.
Okay, and you'd like to make an amendment?
I'd like to amend it to remove multiple member bodies, so we're just saying
All meetings of committees.
committees, subcommittees, boards, and commissions, and let me explain why. There has been some residents in town that tell me that the definition of a multiple member body is not clear. So if we just make it all meetings of all committees, subcommittees, boards, and commissions, then there's no confusing it, period. It's all committees, subcommittees, boards, and commissions, period.
So,
So that's my amendment.
Publicly.
You want
Okay,
to second
so
for discussion, yeah?
if you want to second it, okay, so I'm going to cross out multiple member bodies in 111 and 1112, and then 1112 I'm going to add committees, subcommittees, boards, and commissions. We'll get rid of the parentheses, and okay, and that's the first. Before we go forward, it is clear that Councilor Marquetti brought this forward himself, and he's just. Can we vote on the amendment that he just made? Because I'm in support of his.
We'll have some discussion.
We'll have discussion on this, but to vote on the amendment of the okay. So
could you hold off for a minute?
well, he's just trying to read.
Right, but I want to give you some information on multiple member bodies. If you change it to saying that just boards,
Please,
commissions.
go ahead.
and all that.
You're correct. You are.
Okay.
Yep.
You're gonna have to write up the whole bylaw, because you're amending the bylaw that says section 3-104 or section 3-100 standard provisions that is specific to multiple member boards. That whole bylaw is multiple member boards. So I looked up, and I understand what you're saying. I do, I respect it. I looked up a couple towns that I found in Northampton, which I think, let's just make it very simplistic. Multiple member board can be any board commission. Every board is a multiple member board. There's no single member board. Multiple members is what, and Northampton uses the same language as a multiple member appointive organization. Which I kind of like this because it leaves it very simple in their bylaw. It says, except as may otherwise be authorized by a law, all meetings of all multiple member bodies shall at all times be open to the public. Meetings shall provide a reasonable opportunity for residents to offer public comment. Very simple. Shall, you have public comment. Then if you go to their planning board agenda, right at the beginning, they have public comment. Their board of health, public comment. So this just says you have a period of time that they shall have public comment. and it's right on their agendas. Public comment is the, you know, they call, roll, this. I just think it's very simple, you know, and I would amend, you know, and this is under theirs, it's 1.0 office and standards, and it's 1.05 meetings, right? So, I think if you said, hey, and I'm sorry, I know I'm the manager, but I'm also the council stuff that we used to do, rather than put this whole section in, you would just amend section 3-105, time and place of meetings. And within this, it says, notice of any meeting of all multiple member bodies shall be posted in accordance with the provisions of national law, so-called open meeting law, and add this language somewhere in that time of meetings. And change time and place of meetings just to meetings. Because there it says, all appointed multiple member bodies of the city shall meet regularly at the times and places that the body, by its own rules, shall prescribe. Special meetings of any multiple member body shall be held on the call of the chair or by a majority of the members of the body. Notice of the meeting shall be posted as required by law, except as may otherwise prevent. Very simple. It tells you, you're gonna have a meeting, you post it the way it's supposed to be posted, and there shall be public comment. It's very simple. I just think doesn't leave.
Well, I
There's no
did talk
language.
to Maddie about
It's
this
right here.
before I
Yeah.
wrote this up, and I asked her where she thought it should go.
There's no
She
bylaw.
thought it should go right there.
Well, no, it's the same here. I would just say time and place of meetings. It's just add it to the time and place of meetings. Just amend that to say meetings and add this language within that. And then you're saying you shall. Shall means you will, right?
Right.
Shall means there shall be.
You will, yeah.
And it says all meetings of multiple member bodies. And that says bodies, and
Well, I
bodies
was
is.
trying to eliminate multiple member bodies because there are some people who say they're not sure what constitutes a multiple member bodies.
So I think maybe if we look at
More than
definitions, huh? Yeah, it's multiple. Every board is a multiple member body.
You don't have a,
Well, that's the question.
you don't have a firm.
I think I agree with Councilor Marquetti that it is a relatively vague term, and what do we mean by specifically a multiple member body? I mean, if we mean just simply boards, commissions, you know, committees, subcommittees, okay, let's just say that.
I don't think the way that Councilor Marquetti is amending it and presenting it is wrong. I think there's just more than one way to do it. But it is good. Councilor Marquetti, I'm still inclined to vote on your amendment before we move forward. So can I show of hands all those in favor of the amendment? Opposed? For nothing on the amendment. So the amendment is it's now corrected to just say committees, subcommittees, boards, and commissions in the
So
two
we can
spaces.
discuss that now.
We can discuss it now, and I first want to say that I will be abstaining from this vote because I think it came from a place where people were upset with one person, and I'm never a fan of when people try to do things and rewrite constitutions and bylaws just because of one person. This person, the problem has been solved by that person, and it's very clear in the open meeting law that the chair has the capability to can or cannot allow people to speak. Our government has ran fine for almost 50 years, and without having this, I'm well aware that the Attorney General's office, as you mentioned to me earlier, Councilor Marquetti, that has recommended that people do adopt some sort of language. But again, I appreciate what you were trying to do, but I think, like I said, me personally, trying to rewrite the constitution of a town to try to just fix the decor of one person that was not seemingly allowing people to speak, I will be abstaining simply because I don't like where it came from anymore than the last year that I didn't vote for the same reason. I can't remember what charter change or bylaw it was, but it was because it was about one person, and it's just not. I don't like that personally, and I'm abstaining.
Well, my answer is that it doesn't have anything to do with one person. Are you in favor of letting people talk at meetings, or are you not in favor?
But if this one person didn't
It's up to the chair.
do something wrong in the eyes of
That's what I'm
many,
trying to correct.
you would have never came to us with this. It like this wasn't something on your plate for the whole year. With all due respect, it came because of this person's behavior, and that's why I'm abstaining. Whether or not I agree or not, we've never had this problem before. And again, I'm very clear about my abstention, and I appreciate what you're trying to do.
But it's not one person. It could happen again. You never know.
I hear you, and I'm sure you hear me. But if anybody has any discussion, I saw Councilor Shenier's hand up.
If it happened once, it can happen twice. This clearly says, so it's not going to happen again. And that's why I'm gonna support it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's happened at other board meetings, but it never got to the point of escalation like it did with this here. I was down at the planning board and I was shut down. I was shut down here by the Board of Health at one meeting also. So I think by doing this bylaw, prevents it from happening again. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Does anybody else have any?
I have a
Nothing else?
comment on this, and I'm actually in favor of the amendment of the bylaw in principle. I think the public meetings, there should be a forum for the public to come and address the committee members, commission members, or whatever. My concern is if you don't put, you have to put a time limit on it, though. You can't have a meeting where you get, 50 people in the room and they all want to speak.
But that would be up to the chairman.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be maybe something we would want to include in the bylaw, then, that the chairman will set a time limit, because otherwise you'll get a lot of complaints that say, hey, this is, he's just so sponty making up rules. But I think citizens should have an opportunity to come and speak, but I do think that you need to put some parameters on it.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Joe.
Thank you, Chair, to you. You know, the whole idea, I think, happened in that meeting because the week before, they have a open public meeting, and they let everybody speak. Either we went up there to the bigger room because there was a lot of people, and I think if we can, we're gonna open that. It's gonna be citizens have a right to speak. Depend on environmental, if it's in mad or they're upset, because that create back and forth word between, because the way it happened, it was no yes you can speak, hold on, yes, it was like a word back and forth between all of them, and it become to the point everybody getting upset at the board, at the decision they was making. It was out of control. That's why I think the chair came up with like, nobody's gonna speak, we're gonna make the decision, it's done. Because I think they allow them before, the week before, to everybody speak. They give them enough time to come back and speak 1, 2, 3 times, not only once. And now we're making a decision on one time. Residents, it's upset, and everybody was arguing here. It's out of control. That's why I think that chair made that decision at that night. Not because we don't allow the citizen. I think every chair, it was allowed in a certain time, and we all residents, we all want to speak our opinion, we allow it, but it was out of control that night. That's why I think that decision was made at that time. We never have any issue in the past, we never had any problem. Everybody can speak. I don't think this is necessary right now. I believe we should look deeper in the correct language. Maybe if you want to guys look at it more before we make any decision, we move it forward. We should look more what we have already, what the whole state bylaw, what's our bylaw, and we'll go from there. I think that's kind of moving quick on that, just to tell the residents we did something. Now you have be happy. But I think we're not doing the right thing, moving fast on that, especially specific that bylaw change right now. Thank you.
That's a great point, Councilor Dowd, and after hearing you and Councilor Jovan saying, Town Manager Jovan saying that it could be in a different spot too, I think I'll change my vote to no, because it needs to be totally reworked, as you said, in my opinion. Councilor Marchetti.
First of all, I was at the meeting, and we were shut down before anybody even opened their mouth. So to tell me that it was because everybody was upset and he was trying to control it is incorrect. I was there. He said from the very first opening of the meeting, there will be no discussion. Now, as you can see in here, I put in here that if he wants to have a workshop, just between him and the other members, I have no problem with that. He can have that, but he's got to announce that it's a workshop, the public will not be allowed to participate in, or to comment. But to have a regular meeting and then suddenly decide before, and everybody was told, come to this meeting and you will be allowed to ask your questions, and then he shuts everybody down before they can even ask the questions, that is what I think is wrong. So I'm going to stick to my agenda here. I'm going to vote in favor of this. I don't have a problem if you want to add a time limit. I don't have a problem with that. But I definitely think that this is something that needs to be done. Thank you.
I'm not against you, but I think we're moving too fast on that right now. We need to think before what the right language. We don't want to keep changing it every couple of months. I mean, it's you already amended. You bring the bylaw forward and you already amend it yourself. And I think because you wasn't prepared for the language in it, you know, you thought for it, and now you see something wrong and you amend it. I think we need to discuss it more. I'm not against make the right move.
You'll have 3 readings to discuss it.
What's that?
You'll have 3 readings to discuss it.
Yeah, but I think
It's a knee-jerk reaction. It's not ready.
It is ready. I'm ready for
we
it.
do have allowed the citizens to speak. They have an open meeting for the residents. They come speak. But I believe that specific item, it took 4 years. It's not just that night. You know, the trash issue was 2.5 years and then changed, and then another 1.5 years, 2 years, and then nobody show up, and then suddenly everybody want to come and attack the board members or whatever, trying to do the right thing. What's their residents in town? They pay tax, they pay trash. You know, they're not like from out of town. They're trying to put some rule on the residents. They're from town. They own houses. They pay trash as well. And you know, Council Marquardt, in fact, you there and you approve it as well. You vote on it. So, and you did the meeting. How many people show up? How many people agree? They wait to the last minute, and then now, like I said, the week before we have meeting open for the public. Everybody have a right to speak, and I'm not against you. Like we can discuss that more and found the right word. And I don't think this is a success to our board members to protect him and for our residents. I think it's kind of like, I'm not gonna support it tonight, just to be honest with you. In the future, I think we can correct some word and look at it more deeper. This is my opinion.
Back door open for you.
Thank you.
My office, she just leave it
Oh, I
out.
thought you
In
meant
case I didn't have
but
the key.
But we have the door to the building open, right?
Yeah, but she was talking about my office.
Oh, okay. We're just making sure.
Didn't want to lock it on me.
We don't want to lock the
If I didn't have my
public out.
keys.
Well, we could go back and forth for a long time, but I mean,
I would recommend setting it up and let the council decide. You'll have 3 meetings to decide what you want to do with it. And at the last meeting, if you don't want to do it, you can certainly vote it down.
well, then, if there's no further discussion,
I mean,
all those in favor? Opposed?
It goes up to no recommendation.
You still have to vote. No.
It's a 2 yes, 2 no. There's no recommendation. It will be sent to the chairman of the council when he makes his agenda. As such. Okay, and agenda number 25, finally, discuss adding a camera use bylaw for all member bodies, committees, subcommittees, boards, and commissions.
Hey,
Yes, this is, wait, Mr.
Okay,
Councilor
sorry.
Shenya, this is something we've been discussing for a long time. It also is something that needs work, which is why it's not written out here. And are you going to require all multiple member bodies? Do you like there are certain bodies like the Board of Health and like the liquor board that have some, and the planning board, for example, that have power outside of town council's purview. So, like, clearly, most people would say these are the types of boards and commissions you want to. Do you really need to force the historical commission, like, as a bylaw to film? Some of these boards barely have any members, and then now you're going to force them to film, and they only have like 2 meetings a year. I think I think there should be a bylaw, and I fully agree with Councilor Shiner, who's going to talk about this in a second. But I think we need to spend some time deciding which, the town manager can also, designate just as policy where meetings are allowed to be held, and at least make people have meetings in rooms with cameras, and then as well as a bylaw. But I totally agree with you that there should be one. I think we should spend some time on it. But I'd love to hear your pitch, Councilor Shiner.
I originally thought of this as a bylaw, but I have since had to do some research and looking into state law with the open meeting law, where it allows video and audio, and this town has adopted that video and audio way of doing meetings if we want to. What I felt to make the change is not to make it a bylaw, but to have the town manager and the council make it either a rule or regulation or a policy of the council that requires all meetings to be videoed and audio taped of all boards, commissions, in that the meeting rooms use go through the town manager's office for his assignment to those rooms of the committees. And because there is some boards that he's told to use in the video and they refuse to. So I think we should make it a policy that will go through the town manager's office, and I would ask the town manager that if he could write that policy up and bring it back, a workable policy to the council for action. So the council would vote as a policy, not as a bylaw.
I understand, and it's certainly if it works the same way, it satisfies me, because again, when you talk about bylaws and charter amendments, just me, try not to change the Constitution when you don't have to. So if this works, is what you're saying, if just the policy from the council through the manager's office works, I'm all in favor of you bringing back to general government a policy on recording.
These bodies would not go to, let's say, the town clerk and say, I'm going to use the room upstairs that doesn't have no audio.
Correct.
The meetings of these bodies will have to go through him for a room assignment, or maybe somebody designated by the town manager's office to set these meetings up. So they would have to go through his office to have a meeting.
Okay. Councilor Dow.
Thank you, Chair, to you. The many residents complaining a lot. I think it's not it's not clear. They like to see it, what's really happening in town, and that will allow some residents to get involved as well in the town when they see something. Like you say, board members, only 1 or 2. Maybe some residents, you know what? I'm gonna go get involved in this board. I have experience. Look what's going on. The missing member or something. That will help our residents too to be seeing what we need for help, the town need for help, and move forward as well. And it should be everybody equal. Why some board want to meet in the room with the camera and audio, some of them not. What they doing wrong? Why they don't want to do it? It is something not clear happening. So I think it should be every board meeting like us, like everybody else.
Okay. So a policy sounds great. We just gave the clerk a raise, and they just said that the cable station manager is looking for one too. So this sounds like extra work, and it's fine by me.
I asked that the manager's office write up the policy that's going to work for that
clearly.
office and for us.
Clearly, but I'm saying cable's going to have to make sure that this key system isn't going to work at that rate. There's going to have to be a set of keys down in the clerks or something as well. I mean, nobody's going to steal this equipment. I know that's nothing to do with you, but I'm just saying
those are semantics that will be worked out
in the policy. It really should be. If you're going to have a designee that's going to take care of what you just said, and then it should be part of the policy where the key, if we're gonna force the liquor board to film and the board of health to film and the planning board, they should be able to have keys, the chairman, or access to them, and they should all be a part of transparency so that the citizens can see what's going on. But since there's no real recommendation here to council, and we're really all in agreement that there needs to be better transparency. I mean, who wouldn't want more transparency?
I don't expect them to have it ready
No,
tomorrow. but
no,
we can
no.
work on something.
We're working on
But
it.
is it something that we can? I think it's something we all want. So what we could make a policy, then it'll be quicker, and again more efficient because you don't have to rewrite the world in law.
And I think it takes the heat off his office if we direct him because, well,
Absolutely.
you're picking on me type thing. So
That
it's the
should
council
be,
directing him.
that should be on a meeting, the whole council, or vote on it.
He should bring us back the
We'll
policy.
work on some policy. And,
Yeah,
and get
at some
trails.
point, and we should vote at the general government that the
Right,
policy
should
is the way that we want it,
Right.
and
It just, you know, we have to look up the logistics. I mean, there's no reason why the town clerk's office can't assign
No,
rooms.
you're right.
You know,
Right.
it doesn't have to go through the town manager's
Town
office.
manager is
It's, the
designee.
policy will be somewhat to the effect, but then you also have to look at other, like, airport commission always meets up at the airport.
Right.
They don't have,
And maybe that policy could write an exemption. You know what I'm saying? You could exempt them. You know, historical.
Put a camera on you up there.
we'll take a look at it and figure it out. Because I do understand, I mean,
Right. I just,
every room in this building for meetings, with the exception of the Petrella room for the historic commission, does not, they don't have a camera, and we don't have one next to the town manager's office. We would not put one in the town manager's office because that's only used for executive sessions, which are not recorded and by law cannot be recorded.
but you know
But
the
I
kick.
have filmed meetings in there.
They have film, but I think there's more than enough, unless it was an emergency there.
Yeah.
But I'm also looking at changing that room where we could do Zoom meetings and everything and get a TV and set it up so that,
Right,
I
but
mean, it's
you,
gonna be-
you know the station upstairs has tons of cameras,
but they
cameras
could
that
do
are
it also.
12 years old. You could and they could just set them up and press record, and there's a
They
microphone
still have
right
the
on
per
it.
diem employees that if they had to go set
Right.
something up.
So now they're hiring another employee and getting an increase, and now they're going to make over 150 grand in salary, so they can certainly afford to film
we'll
these
get it
things.
worked out.
So,
I make a motion to adjourn.
agenda item number 6. Is there a second for adjournment? Second. All those in favor? 8:25.